is Tim Albright with AVNation and InfoComm 2024 in the Sennheiser booth with Greg Overton. How are you, sir?
I'm doing just fine. How are you? How's the show treating you?
Oh, you know, here's the thing. InfoComm has become one of those that, yes, you come for the technology, but the added benefit is the connection with people and the networking. Oh my gosh.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, here's the thing. You learn more. This is no slight on any manufacturer's booth. You learn more in the hallways at InfoComm.
Absolutely.
And a lot of trade shows are like that too, right? You guys have got a couple things going on. First of all, last year you announced TeamConnect, the bar.
Yeah, we
right?
did.
Great. Awesome. Groovy. Now we got to get them certified.
Well,
and now they're certified, and now they're shipping. Talk about
now
it for a
they're
second.
shipping this week. The bar M and S finally hitting the street. You know, we got to unspool that backlog a little bit, but we should be able to expect them getting to the customers and the end users really, really soon.
All right. Talk about what makes them different than a other sound bar.
So our bars are designed to be the main character in a space that doesn't really have any other technology.
Yeah.
If you've got a medium-sized huddle room or a small-sized huddle room, you mount the bar, the displays get tied directly into it, the external microphones can get tied directly into it, and then a single connection over USB-C, either in a BYOD instance or a dedicated compute, and it just detects all of those things. Your computer is going to end up treating the bar like a hub, so the displays will automatically detect in Windows. The microphones and cameras are all available within whatever meeting platform you're going to be using. And it's got Dante embedded, so you can take the device and you can extend its range by adding one of our ceiling microphones, adding one of our Dante-enabled wireless microphones, if that's what the situation needs. So there's a lot of flexibility and a lot of power built into it.
So talk about it for a second, because if I'm not mistaken, it's the only sound bar on the market that has Dante.
Only one right now.
Why did you guys go down that? Like, what made that? Besides, you just mentioned connecting it with another ceiling array, but we can kind of do that kind of the old-fashioned way. What was the thinking of doing Dante there?
So our entire catalog family ties together over Dante.
Okay.
So within a single network, you can use the bar in a space. You can have the microphones built into the same room. You can have everything together. So adding Dante to the bar when we developed it was just a very natural thing to do to add cohesiveness to the family.
All right, well, speaking of the family, this is called a TeamConnect bar. You guys also have the ceiling array, a medium version of that. Talk about that.
Yeah, so behind me we've got the TCC2, which is the classic, the big brother. We've had it a long time. The TCC-M we launched a year or two ago, and it's great. But the TCC-M, the medium, has got a little more power behind it, just from the benefit of being newer. And that lets us build some new features into it. So a feature that we just announced is the intelligent noise control feature, which lets the microphone, which typically is just always listening for the loudest thing in the room, and that beam will follow the loudest thing, reevaluating every 4 milliseconds. But with the intelligent noise control, we now have the ability to recognize broadband constant noise like fans, HVACs, projectors, even the din of the convention floor here. It's able to recognize it, and first it ignores it when that beam is deciding what it wants to point at. It says that thing is not a person, I don't care about that, the beam moves on. And the second step is it then eliminates it from the audio stream. It can push it down as far as 24 dB if you really have the settings set up aggressively.
Okay, speaking of those settings, if I'm an IT manager, how much interaction am I having with that? Like, how am I setting that up on a daily basis, or for every meeting, or how am I interacting with that?
So when you buy it fresh out of the box, you've got to unmute it. So at some point, someone's going to have to open up our Control Cockpit software, which is the software we use to manage things. And within Control Cockpit, you have the ability to set up the settings within the device. And then those settings are stored in the non-volatile memory of the microphone, right? So you unplug Control Cockpit, you may never have to touch it again, right? Even if it loses power, reboots, all of those memory settings pop back up.
So if I have a dealer that sets it up for me, I may not have to ever touch it again.
Theoretically.
All right. You guys are also talking about a new wireless receiver system.
Our new wireless? Yes, sir. So we announced that we are finally shipping the EM4 Dante with EWDX. EWDX is our premier line of wireless, and we've been waiting for 4 channels in a single rack unit for a long, long time.
Okay. So this is for receiving units.
This is 4 receiving channels. You've got the ability in one rack unit to have all 4 channels without having to have an antenna splitter.
Okay.
You can daisy chain
Nice.
the antenna line down multiple.
And can I run
Yep.
this up to an antenna, an external antenna too?
You can run it to an external antenna, and unlike the EM2, this has enough power to drive active antennas.
Oh, okay.
So in situations where you really need that gain boost in the
Yeah.
RF line, this is there for you, and it'll pass that down to the other subsequent.
So
deals.
here's the thing about this. So you, in a traditional setting, you would have 1 rack unit. You could usually get 2 receiving units.
Yep.
Now you've got 4, and you've got the ability to share the antenna signal
Yep.
to all 4.
Right. Even with our EM2s, which is a half rack 2 channel, you could get 4 channels in a single rack unit, but you had to add an antenna splitter.
There we go.
Okay, which is get you into another half rack unit. So here you're able to have it all in one place. And more than that, because it's Dante enabled, we built in the ability to daisy chain that Dante down to the lower units.
Very cool.
So the hookup in the back of the rack logistics can be pretty clean.
All right. Last thing, talk a little for a second. Define voice lift for me.
Voice lift. So voice lift is a situation where we are using a microphone, in this case we'd use the ceiling microphone,
Okay.
to reinforce vocal speech within the same room.
And so you're in the room with the speaker. Okay.
You're in the same room. Now this is different from PA in that it's just not going to get that loud. The idea is you're in a space where the voice naturally can't carry to the far end, and traditional microphone placement is impractical for whatever reason. Think a long boardroom, and what we would normally do is have a microphone in the ceiling that's monitoring this side and extending that to the far end. Not a ton, just enough to where it's the same volume as it is at the spoken end,
Okay.
right? Just enough so that conversation across that long distance feels natural.
Okay.
So-
Now, the reason I wanted you to define that for me, you guys have teamed, no pun intended,
Yeah.
tied voice lift up with active camera tracking.
Absolutely. So if you're using the TCCM or the TCC2 with its active beamforming to do voice lift, you can also take advantage of the fact that it's giving information about where its beam is pointed to third-party DSPs,
Okay.
right? So it's generating azimuth and elevation information for the location of the target relative to itself, and your programmer can use that to map the space out. It's sending this out all the time, and the third-party controller can use that to fire camera presets.
Okay.
Something that's interesting about us right now is that we can do both of these at the same time. Lots of competitors can do voice lift. Lots of them can do camera control. Right now, we're the only ones who can do both simultaneously from one microphone.
All right. If somebody wants to find out more about Sennheiser, how do they do that?
I'm sorry?
If somebody wants to find out more about Sennheiser, how do they do that?
Sennheiser.com.
All right, great. Greg Oden from Sennheiser. For us, for AVNation, go by our website, avnation.tv. That's avnation.tv. Find more videos from the show floor of Infocom 2024. All that and more at avnation.tv. That's avnation.tv.